Well, thank you, Madam Chair, and Senator Kane for holding this hearing. And Mr. Bagley, you will excuse Senator King, Senator Ayotte, and I for focusing on the Portsmouth Naval Shipyard, but it's our shipyard, and we are very proud of it. And it's so nice to be able to welcome Paul O'Connor to the committee today. And
ouch.
It is in Maine, but it has tremendous workers from both New Hampshire and Maine, and a few from Massachusetts, too, so we're happy to have all of them. I want to follow up on Senator King's point about the Declaration of Excellence, because, as you pointed out, it is really unique, I think, and serves as a model not just for the shipyard, but I think for all of federal agencies. If we could get everybody to buy into this kind of a declaration of excellence for what we want to accomplish in each of our agencies, I think we would be more successful as a federal government. I also think it's important to point out, as you did, that this is one of the reasons that the shipyard was on the last BRAC closing list and then was taken off, because when people actually went in and looked at what you were doing, the productivity at the yard, the importance of your contribution to national security, it was, there was a recognition that this was a shipyard we needed to keep open. So I congratulate you and everybody at the yard, not just for the Declaration of Excellence, but also one of the other things that I've been very interested in are the energy efficiency efforts within the Navy, and the shipyard has also been recognized as for its innovation and energy efficiency measures. But I want to go to the issue that we're all concerned about, and that is what happens with sequestration. Not only what happens at our public shipyards, but our private shipyards. And one of the challenges we're facing, I know we're facing in Portsmouth, and I would guess you might be facing it too, Mr. Bagley, is how do we keep talented people working at our shipyards? We need a higher percentage of engineers, of STEM graduates. It's one of the challenges we face in the workforce throughout the country. And as people are looking at the uncertainty that sequestration presents, can you talk, Mr. O'Connor and then Mr. Bagley, about the impact that that's having on the workforce and what you're seeing, and the need for us to address sequestration? So, Paul, would you begin?
Okay. Boy, oh boy, that's a big question. We have seven separate chains of command on our shipyard, and not all seven were impacted equally with sequestration. The Navy, DOD, ruled that the shipyard, the NAVSEA portion of Portsmouth Naval Shipyard, the island, would not be impacted by sequestration. So we all came to work. The other chains of command, they were still impacted by sequestration. We had men and women who worked side by side. Some in the other chains of command were forced to stay home under sequestration and lost their pay. Others were coming to work because they're a different chain of command. You know, the morale, the damage to the morale of our workforce when, for no apparent reason other than a supercommittee couldn't reach decisions, they're out of work. And that's really difficult. And the impact, it's not as severe, but it does have an impact on the people who don't get furloughed, you know, because are we next? Will we be furloughed, you know, when sequestration is reenacted on October 1st, I believe, right? Yeah. Take away the whole national security aspect of it, take away all of that, and you're left with, in the middle of trying to engage our workforce and create this synergy, this collaboration, this unprecedented desire for our workforce to work together, we have to deal with the threat of being kicked off the job, sent home, for no real good reason. And that's hard to deal with. You know, we're hard workers like anybody else. We get a bad rap. Federal employees get a bad rap. We don't deserve it. We are the most efficient, proficient workforce in our nation in the business of nuclear submarine maintenance and modernization. We're the best there is. And it's painful to, quite frankly, to listen to the wrangling and the rhetoric that is behind the decision to furlough our workforce.
Thank you. I'm out of time.
Sorry.
I wanted to follow up a little more on the challenge of getting STEM graduates, which also speaks to the issue that you're raising, Senator Kane, and also what the potential for additional cuts does to our ability to attract those people with those skills that we need. And again, Mr. Bagley, Paul, could you all speak to that? What are you seeing with respect to hiring ability when there's uncertainty around what's going to happen with contracts for the shipyard and with future funding? And it's true, I think, also at Huntington Ingalls. So you want to go first, Mr. Bagley?
Yeah, I'll try. I will say, based on where we are in our current conditions, we are more concerned with how do we prepare for coming back up the valley. You know, I guess we're projecting maybe 17, 18 months, just roughly, from here. And so how do we take what I call, you know, the cornerstone, a significant piece of our business that we're not going to affect and allow the apprenticeship program and the leaders who we're producing out of that, along with our training organization, to set us up that we're ready to come back up and take whoever is out there that we choose to hire. And hopefully, as we have in the past, certainly the most recent 5 to 6 years, we'll have the quality of people to hire that can not only come in and have the physical attribute, but that intellectual attribute that can help us with the training that we're going to have leaders to give them to come up that power curve a whole lot quicker. So that's really our strategy. And I suspect we're going to still be pretty selective in who we're going to be able to hire. So when we consider the technology, when we consider how do we be proactive and anticipate the future rather than letting the future come and take us, like sequestration, you know, what that may do to us, what we're trying to focus on is what are the things we can control, and that's where we're putting our energy. And then the things that we can't control, we are acknowledging those, but we're telling the people that we got a team of folks, you know, up here in D.C. working with senators and et cetera to help change that. But we do have a significant piece in our hands that we can control our own destiny. So that's where I'm asking the leadership, the workers, let's put our energy there. And at the end of the day, we can feel good about that we fought a good fight because we're going to stand tall. Now, will we have all the team members possibly on the team? Maybe not. But the ones who are there, we're going to reset the business. And this is what we're looking at now. How do we reset the business for the future? And resetting this business, we have to get leaner. We have to get more productivity. We have to prepare for the unknowns. But yet the things that we do know, that's where we're going to put a lot of our energy.
Thank you. And Paul, as you're looking at an aging workforce at the shipyard, what kind of challenges does the uncertainty of sequestration present as you're looking at all the people that need to be hired over the next couple of years?
Well, historically, you know, when the budgets are cut, the first things that get cut are outreach, training, We try to focus on the core mission. Not that training isn't core, but if we have to cut somewhere, that's historically where they cut. It's a tough question because our people, like during sequestration, our outreach program was cut. It was ended officially. Zero budget. That didn't stop the men and women at our shipyard who volunteer on a regular basis from continuing to volunteer, to spend their own money, to help these kids in the programs that they were involved in. Our outreach program goes out to colleges, high schools, and middle schools. We're not going to let those kids down, but we shouldn't have to bear the cost out of our own pockets because of sequestration.
Well, and I certainly agree that the volunteer efforts on behalf of the shipyard for programs like Sea Perch that really get kids excited about.
Oh, they do. It's a great
Work
program.
in fields that are going to ultimately be important to the shipyard are critical. I was thinking more of whether, as you're looking at hiring people, the challenges of bringing somebody on when there's uncertainty about whether the funding's going to be there for the jobs at the shipyard. And
We had to freeze our hiring.
Yeah.
It was that simple. We had to freeze. So, which has an impact on our performance because our workload didn't freeze,
Right.
just the workforce. So, yeah, that's a huge issue.
Thank you. Thank you both.